First year, which was in '98, I believe, it was just the Holocaust project. The teachers didn't know a lot, but they were trying to teach the kids what they didn't know. They read books, and they watched video clips, saw pictures, and they just tried their best to do what they can.
But I want to remind you before we start that what we're going to cover in this project is very, very graphic. And if you feel that
of course, one of the first things that the kids had to learn, and one of the hardest things for them to comprehend, was that Hitler murdered 6 million Jewish people.
The idea for the paper clips came when a student said, "What is 6 million? I've never seen 6 million." Miss Hooper's like, "Well, neither have I. If you can find something to collect, we'll try it."
So the students began doing some research on the internet. And they discovered that the paperclip was invented in Norway. I never knew that. And they also learned that the Norwegians used the paperclip as a symbol during the Holocaust.
Back in the 1940s, Norwegians wore paperclips on their collar to represent the people who were in the Holocaust at that time.
The Jews had to wear stars that telling people that they were Jews. So the Norwegians wore the paperclip to represent what the wrongdoing was.
Because if they spoke out about it, they would probably get killed or put in a concentration camp.
And they came and they said, "Can we write some letters to some people we know and to some other schools and to some famous people and see if they'll send us some paper clips?"
Miss Hooper said, "Sure." So we began sending letters out.
These children really wanted to understand the magnitude of the Holocaust. That's why the second group, in the fall of 1999, added the paperclip project to their weekly meetings. And with letters and paperclips coming in, it seemed to be catching on.
We first got a shipment of 100,000 paperclips. They were very excited and they thought they were off to a booming start.
We received that in one large shipment from a gentleman in California, a jewelry designer. And he called and he was all excited. So for a couple of weeks there, we were real excited. Oh, we got 100,000. This is going very quickly.
8,800.
And then we got into a huge lull where we would go weeks and receive 2 letters. And it's really hard to keep your optimism up, your enthusiasm up, and to keep up the enthusiasm of 27 kids. And we were just fiddling with some numbers trying to determine how long it was going to take us to get to 6 million at the current rate. And it was going to take us 10 years. And we just both shook our heads. We knew we didn't have that much in us.
Sandy and I sat and looked at each other and we said, well, if we can collect 1.5 million for the children that were killed, that we'll probably be doing
Fortunately,
pretty good.
that's when Peter and Dagmar Schroeder came in.
Alcohol, or how is it called?
Moonshining.
Yeah. So, I mean, hope is this.
Oh gosh, how do you describe Peter and Dagmar Schroeder?
I think that's not the way.
It's only a beginning.
They contacted us in October of '99, and the letter read, their friend, who was a 94-year-old Holocaust survivor named Lena Gieter, had found our project on the internet. And she said, "This is your assignment."
We both are journalists, and we are here in the United States for 20 years. We are White House correspondents.
Yes, Whitwell, hi.
And on the side, we try to get a feel for this country.
Is this where they have the football game?
Yeah, there. Go Tigers.
Yeah.
Go Tigers.
As journalists, you always have this negative stuff you write about. And then if you're getting older like us, then it's the danger that you get cynical and that you don't believe in good stuff anymore. In the beginning, there was not much of a paperclip. They just have started to collect them. We saw then, okay, we have to help the kids, and we can do that if we and the Germans should be involved. And we were talking to some people at the school, and we asked, can we come over? Can we visit you? So, and they said, sure.
Maybe it was not only an experience for us, it was an experience for the children too. Because the children obviously had no idea what Germans looked like. They asked their teacher, how do Germans look like? Are they different from us? And then we came over, and later they told us, you look quite normal.
They came. They saw. They wrote. They went back to Washington. They sent Dita Smith with the Washington Post to our school.
Thank you very much. I did a little research on the town and the area and realized that Dayton, Tennessee is only about 30 or 40 miles to the north, where the famous monkey trial took place, otherwise known as the Scopes trial, where a teacher was tried for teaching Darwinian theories rather than Christian theory of creationism. The other historical fact that I discovered when I was in Whitwell was that the Ku Klux Klan was founded only about 100 miles away in Pulaski. Maybe when I got to Whitwell, I was a little bit prejudiced myself. I expected a town that was close-minded, very Christian way, very fundamentalist, but I realized that that in itself was my prejudice, not their prejudice. After I went to Whitwell, I wrote my story, and it appeared on Passover Day.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
The Holocaust, the cold, calculated extermination of millions of Jews, a great evil that must never be forgotten. From a corner of Tennessee tonight, perhaps this generation is teaching us.
Well, it really started getting big whenever like the Washington Post came down, and then NBC came, and then people just the paperclips just started coming in by the millions.
11,390.
Before the Washington Post came, we probably had 150,000 paper clips.
Say somewhere. 30, 31, 32.
How many's in that box?
152,290. Over a period of 6 weeks, we ended up with 24 million paper clips.
And we counted them all. The grannies counted them. The aunts counted them.
It's heavy, so be careful.
Everybody was counting.
We checked in over 24 million paper clips and about 25,000 pieces of mail.
There was a time when we were just flooded with paper clips, and I began to think, my word, what have I unleashed here? You know, it's like you're in a flood and you're trying to stop it, and yet you don't want it to stop, because coming with the flood are all these important lessons.
It's in German.
They're all addressed to Anne.
This is Anne. This is Anne Frank. This is awesome.
They've written little things to Anne Frank.
Somebody is interested enough in what we're doing to take this kind of time.
I think it's amazing enough that they even know about it, you know. There are people in Chattanooga, Tennessee who don't know where Whitwell, Tennessee is.
That's absolutely true.
You know, I mean, most people are good, you know, like Anne Frank said in her diary. You know, people at heart are good. And when they see something like this happening that is good, they want to be a part of it.
Comes along the spring of 2001, Greater Five Towns Holocaust Survivor Group in New York called us, and it seems that somehow they'd heard about the project. And they wanted to know if they could come to Whitwell and share their survivor stories with our children. And the evening before they spoke to the children at the school, they were invited to the First United Methodist Church for the whole town to meet them.
It made me realize the next time I say the Pledge of Allegiance, I want to think of how glad I am that it's a free country and I have the right to do what I feel and say what I say. And I'll just be much more respectful to it.
When I was finished, they embraced me and hugged me and kissed me. They never heard this. Some of them cried even. Because they never heard stories like this here, and they were never in contact with people that experienced it.
They dig holes to put them in and cover them up.
To me, they're my heroes because they've been through everything. I'm going to take what they've told me and pass it down with my kids to their grandchildren and so on, and to my friends and my family, where they will always remember that this horrible thing happened, and hopefully they can prevent it from ever happening again.
They're learning from what we're teaching, and they're teaching others. And that's the whole point of this project, to teach their children and their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren.
You have certain feelings when you see a car like this. And you can't help but remember what happened in this car some 60 years ago.
Our work is done, I think. We brought the car over and that's it. And now the other one.
You think so? I
Yes,
don't think so.
yes, I hope so. I hope so.
It will stay with us forever.
That's
I think.
possible.
We thought we have seen this cattle car now numerous times. We know this cattle car. It can't do anything to us. Then you realize what this car actually means. This car transported people to concentration camps.
They put in 80, 90, 110 people. They suffocated in these cattle cars. And 1/4 of every victim, of all the victims, were children.
Now it is here in Baltimore. And then it goes down to Chattanooga and to Whitwell. But this will be the end of this car's journey. This car will not transport people anymore.
I think they're ready, David. We need to back up a little more.
I was one of the first to actually stand in the rail car. The floor was sort of rotten and you had to watch where you stepped. But just the thought of 100 people fitting in that small area, it's heartbreaking. And Miss Hooper got up there with me and she just burst into tears.
When people began to climb into the rail car, I couldn't handle that. Because to me, it had a life of its own. And I have never been in that car yet that I don't hear those voices and feel that pain.
It survived in the face of overwhelming odds. And now it's come home. Cassie and I were standing in the car today and we kind of had our hands on the car and she said, what would it tell us if it could talk?
Now that I've had these kids, I've spent all these hours with them, I see that they have a lot of input to give and that I was very, very quick to judge. I listen to what they say and I value their input. It's a gift to me. It's a gift to my children because it's made me a better dad, better father, better teacher, better man. The job of collecting paper clips is over, but the job of educating others will never be over. And I think our job now is to give tours of the rail car and to branch off into other schools and teach our lessons of the Holocaust.
I just can't wait till I get to college and they ask me if you've ever had a life-changing moment. The first thing that's going to come out of my mouth is going to be the Whitwell Middle School Holocaust Project. I just cannot wait till that moment happens.